Alright, today we're going to learn how to create a new title block or a custom title block. And this will be for activity 1.3.5 is what we're following. This will be for step 1 through 4 um, to create your own title block or a custom title block. This title block can be used for all of your drawings after this assignment, anytime you submit a drawing. So to create a new title block and to save a new title block, what we're going to do here in Fusion is we're going to go up to the File tab and go to New Drawing Template. Now, we are going to create a template from scratch. So we want to make sure the template is from scratch. Our standard that we're going to be using is ASME. Our units is going to be inches, and in this case, our sheet size or our paper size will be B size 17 by 11. When I go ahead and click OK, you're going to see a title block appear. Now, by default, it wants me to go ahead and start creating a multi-view drawing. In this case, we're not really creating a multi-view drawing. We're just trying to create a new drawing template that we can use to then create multi-view drawings later down the road. So I'm going to just go ahead and hit cancel. And we're going to change this title block. This is the default title block. You'll notice that it has some different information that can be used. We don't necessarily need all of this information, so we're going to change this up a little bit. To do that, if I click on the title block itself, and it'll turn blue, and I want to right click, and I'm going to hit Edit Title Block. Now, in this case, we can, there are different sources. For example, this title block is from a existing title block from ANSI title block, but in our case, we're going to create a completely new title block. To do that, we're going to hit from scratch, and we are going to name this title block or this template IED template B. And that is saying for it is a B size paper, which is 11 by 17 or 17 by 11, depending on the orientation. And this is for the IED class. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now you're going to notice this is where I can draw a new title block. I can add new information. My paper size was already set to 17 by 11 inches. That is B size paper. You will notice that there are some marks in the corners. These marks are representing the edge of my paper. The inside border here with the little arrows, this is my margins. So this looks like it's offset, so it can be printed on a 17 by 11 paper, and it will not be cut off because of the printer. Now, most of the title blocks are usually down here in the lower right-hand corner. However, we're going to make a title block that just goes all the way across the bottom of this title block to allow more space for our drawings, our multi-view drawings. Now, to be able to do that, we need to draw a new title block. So you'll notice here at the top, I have different tools. I have a line tool or geometry tools. There is a line tool down here. So I can go ahead and click on that line. And I'm just going to draw a line across the bottom, and it should be snapping to these different corners. That's why I'm getting those green squares that light up. Okay. Now, I don't want a line on the bottom. I want to move that up a little bit. So I'm going to use my move tool, and I'm going to select that line. And now where my transform, it says point to point, I can go ahead and click on the end of this line, and I'm going to drag it up, and you'll notice that my relative polar coordinates come up, and it's telling me how far I'm moving that line. So in this case, I want to move that line up exactly 1 inch, and then I can let go of my mouse or click again to set that line at exactly 1 inch. Oh, I hit escape, and that's why it went back. So I'm going to go to my move tool again, select the line, hit the transform point to point, click on the end, move it up exactly 1 inch, click, and then hit OK from my move tool. I'm going to draw another line in right here on the end, and I can move that line in as well the same way I moved the long line. So I select the line, click on the endpoint, and I'm going to move this line in at a roughly 4.5 inches. So I could zoom in a little bit here and be a little bit more detailed, or a little bit more accurate with my move. And I got it pretty close, so I'll hit OK. So there's part of my title block. Now, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to put our school logo down here in the bottom left-hand corner. To do that, the file is the JPEG, or the picture file, is in the 1.3.5 assignment, and you need to make sure that you save that picture into your file so you can find it. To find it, I'm going to go ahead here to Insert, Image, and I want to insert from my computer, and you'll notice that I have my image saved. Now you can save yours to your account number. So I'm going to go ahead and hit open and place that down here in the bottom. Now you'll notice that my image is a lot bigger than my title block. So I want to scale that down, and I can type in a specific distance. So for example, my Y distance of 1 inch. Oh, that would be moving it. Sorry, so I don't want to move it. I want to scale this down. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the down arrow until I am pretty close here to fitting inside my title block. In this case, that would be scaling down to 40%. And go ahead and hit OK. And there's my school logo in my title block. I'm going to add another line here just at the end of that image, just to add a little bit of a border to that. Okay. Now I need to start placing the information that should be in a title block to inform people some information. For example, what is the project name? Where does the project come from? Who is it drawn by? What is the scale of the drawing? That information. All of that information is found in the instructions in the 1.3.5 activity. So to start off, I'm going to place my project name. To do that, I'm going to use my text tool. And anytime I use the text tool, this text will always stay the same. So I'm just going to draw a title block, and I'm going to write or type in project. Now I want to use all capital letters in drafting. And this is how it'll show up. I want to make this bold so I can highlight it, and in my text toolbar I can click bold and go ahead and hit close. So you'll notice that my word project always appears, and I can move this up a little bit higher. I don't want to attach it all the way to the corner, so I just want to make it in that corner. That will always appear, and the text will always stay the same. So what I need to do now is I need to list what my project name actually is, and I'm going to use the attribute tool under the text. So if I click on the attributes and click, I can select a lot of defaults. So in this case, this is my attribute toolbar. You'll notice I have project name. If I change that to project name, I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger. For example, I'm going to change this to 0.25 to make that a little bit larger when I add in my project name. So this will be linked to whatever drawing I place in. If I place in a block drawing, like for example, if my project is in my IED folder, it will say IED class for the project. So I'm going to go ahead and add some other information over here. For example, my title. So I'm going to add a text tool and place the title in. and I'm going to make sure that is bold. I'm going to keep it at 0.1. And now I'm going to add an attribute underneath that, and I'm going to change this to title 1. And this will be whatever I save my project as. That is what it'll insert there. I'm also going to change my height to 0.25, make sure it's a little larger. I'm going to go ahead and draw another line over top. And I'm going to use my move tool again, click on that line, and I'm going to move this over 4 inches. Actually, 3.5 I think is good, or 3.75 is good, just to make sure that I have enough room depending on how long my title is. So I can continue to do this by adding the other information. So for example, I need drawn by, the drawing date, checked by, checked date, scale, the sheet number, and sheet size. So to do that, I'm going to continue to add text. So now I will put drawn by. And I need to make my text box a little bit larger here, just so it fits. Make it bold. Need to make sure that I highlight it to make it bold. And hit close. I'm going to add another attribute right beside it. And you'll notice I do have a drawn by that I can select. And I'm going to keep this pretty small. Underneath of or beside that, I'm going to put the drawn date. So I can use the text tool, type in date to add the date. Oh, and I want to make that bold. So I hit close. And I'm going to insert an attribute right after that and hit drawn date. So there, that will show up. Underneath that, I'm going to put the checked by and checked date. So very similar process. Checked by. And I'm going to highlight that, make that bold. And I can add an attribute after that. And you'll notice I don't have a checked by, so I'm going to create a custom and just type in checked by name. Whoever's name checked it. Hit OK. So once you add the other things, I'm going to make sure I draw some lines to break this up. So I'm going to draw a line down the middle here and a line right after. So I need to insert the checked date as well. Some other things I need to add over on this side is the scale, the sheet number, and the sheet size. So I'm going to continue to do that the exact same way by adding text and adding attributes to this. When you guys are finished and this is all set up, you can go ahead and hit finished, and now you will notice your title block. And this will be saved for a title block. So for example, if I close this, and I can hit save again just to make sure I save it as title block B. And I'm going to make sure I need to put IED in front of that. Hit save. But if I close all these things, and this is the part that you're going to be creating a drawing for, and you go to File, New Drawing from Design, you guys can now select the template. When I hit template, you will notice it shows up IED title block B, and this drawing will start in the title block that you created.